Today, the Senate votes on a cloture motion on a bill to establish a federal abortion code. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is another declaration of truth from your host, Terry A. Hurlbut. As I said, the Senate has a major cloture vote today, but I want to address a lot of confusion that has cropped up on both sides, both as to what the bill is before the Senate and what the Alito draft actually suggests could happen in future Supreme Court cases. Before I begin, I want to shout out to the sponsor of this channel, which is Conservative News and Views, link in the description. And be sure to check out the awesome CNAV Store. Scroll down to the bottom for that link. Lots of good merchandise there, including this t-shirt, the Trumpinator saying, "I'll be back." And while I'm at it, I want to shout out to another sponsor called BitNext. This is your replacement for Zoom, Slack, the Google G Suite, Microsoft Office 365, Dropbox, WeTransfer, and Chili Piper, among others. Unlike any of them, BitNext protects your content and conversations so well that even the administrators can't see it. So this is your channel for secure comms, conferencing, cloud storage, and file sharing. Best of all, everything is back-end, so you don't even need client software. If you have a browser, you can use BitNext. Follow the link and give them a try. 28 days free of charge. You can't beat that with a stick. All right, ladies and gentlemen, listen carefully. This is where I at least try to set the record straight. To begin with, two versions of the so-called Women's Health Protection Act are floating around in Congress today. The first, H.R. 3755, passed the House on September 21st of last year. It came to the Senate in February of this year and failed of cloture, 46 to 48. The second, S4132, has everything in the first bill except the findings section. Senator Richard Blumenthal from Connecticut introduced it on May 3rd, the day after the Roe v. Wade leak. Why Senator Blumenthal stripped the findings out of the bill, neither he nor anyone else has explained. And because the two bills are not exactly identical, invoking cloture on S4132 and then passing it might still require it to go through the House of Representatives. Either that or Senate and House would call a conference and agree to ditch the findings. Senator Blumenthal and his Democratic colleagues assert that this bill would codify the regime in Roe v. Wade. Senator Mitch McConnell from Kentucky says the bill would go much further and legislate abortion on demand from conception to birth. In the meantime, we've seen picketing in front of houses of court members, the Speaker of the House applauding such acts, a firebombing of a pro-life office in Madison, Wisconsin, a claim of responsibility for that act that threatens more of the same, the Attorney General of Virginia having someone fire a bullet through his office window, and leftist activists calling for the abolition of the court itself. With all this excitement, the important question is, what does the abortion code bill really do? In fact, this bill does give a nod to the viability standard in Roe v. Wade. The problem for Senator McConnell and others is that it gives a rubber standard for when the states may respect it. Under either version of this bill, a doctor may abort a viable unborn child, and I quote, when in the good faith medical judgment of the treating healthcare provider, continuation of the pregnancy would pose a risk to the pregnant patient's life or health. Unquote. As ever, the devil lies in the details. What constitutes the health of the mother? What risk is acceptable or unacceptable? These bills don't say. And while I'm on the subject, I have a real problem with the legislative pros. Why won't they just say mother? Believe it or not, the findings section of H.R. 3755 refers to, quote, every person capable of becoming pregnant, unquote. And that explicitly includes, and again, I quote, cisgender women, transgender men, non-binary individuals, those who identify with a different gender, and others, unquote. Whew. No wonder Senator Blumenthal ditched the findings. He probably thought that's why H.R. 3755 didn't get cloture the first time. But at the bottom, this bill comes very close to invalidating the Constitution itself. First, in a direct swipe at the Texas Heartbeat Act, it defines any private person given standing to sue an abortion provider as a state actor, and it would be held liable under federal law. Then it says that the 10th and 11th Amendments won't apply here. The 10th Amendment says that the states have reserved powers. One of these is the power to define and punish murder or manslaughter. The only murders subject to federal investigation are those that happen on federal installations or in Washington, D.C. itself. That comes from Article 1, Section 8, Clause 17, the Exclusive Legislation Clause. Now, under the 11th Amendment, citizens of one state may not sue another state. So now the drafters of this act presume to say that citizens of one state may indeed sue another state for prohibiting or restricting abortion. The enforcement section specifically grants standing to anyone adversely affected by a violation of this act. That doesn't say what the adverse effect might be. Now, this wouldn't be the first time that the abortion side has deliberately sown confusion. Recall again the text of the draft opinion. I have a link in the description. Now, the Solicitor General of the United States actually said that if Roe goes, so go things like Lawrence versus Texas, forbidding the criminalization of homosexual acts. Loving versus Virginia, forbidding miscegenation laws. And Griswold versus Connecticut, permitting married couples to get birth control pills if they want. Well, Judge Alito addressed all of that. He never said those cases couldn't stand. He did say those cases could not support Roe, either when that decision came down or today. Justice Alito said that the Roe court tried to lay a foundation for their decision in a right to privacy that proceeded from various parts of the Constitution. And then he said that abortion is categorically different from intimate acts, interracial marriage, or home birth control. These practices don't destroy life, but abortion does. And yes, Senator McConnell has said lately that Congress could ban abortion nationwide, but that would not be simple. It probably would require trying again with the Human Life Amendment to the Constitution, and that would take 2/3 of both houses and 3/4 of the several states. Assuming Roe falls, the battle now goes to the states. As I've said before, it also goes to the hearts and minds of the people in current generations and future. Links to the description of the article, to the Alito draft, and the conservative news and views. I have another link to the awesome online store and to BitNext, as I mentioned. And if you like what you've heard, you can like this video and subscribe to this channel. This is Terry A. Hurlbut delivering another declaration of truth and reminding you to let the truth set you free.